And we welcome you back. Let's talk hoop. If the Philadelphia 76ers are going to tie this series with the Knicks in Game 2, they're going to have to do it without Joel Embiid. Let's head to the Garden, where Lisa Salters is standing by, as if a 39-point loss in the opener were not enough. No Joel. What's the extent of this injury?
Yeah, Ernie. Well, Joel Embiid was ruled out after a shoot-around this morning with hip and ankle injuries. Now, according to the 76ers, Embiid woke up with increased pain in his right ankle. That's an injury that they say he sustained during Game 1. So he woke up with increased pain in his right ankle, but also increased pain in his right hip. And they say that's an issue that's kind of just been nagging, lingering since the physical play of the first round. So again, Embiid apparently woke up with pain in his right ankle, right hip. He didn't participate in shoot-around this morning, spent that time instead on the training table, and it was after receiving treatment that the medical staff decided to rule him out for tonight's game. Now, I did ask Nick Nurse about Embiid's status for Game 3. And Nick said, I don't know. He said right now Embiid is considered day-to-day. He said, I'm really just worried about Game 2 right now, but Embiid is day-to-day, so we'll have to wait and see for Game 3. And Andre Drummond will likely start in place of Joel Embiid for tonight's Game 2, Ernie.
Lisa Salters, thank you very much, as she joins us live from Madison Square Garden. So, wow. Look, you know how much this guy loves to play. You know how much he has been limited in how much he can play. Now, what's Philly doing?
Well, I mean, if you're Philly, you've had practice all year because he missed the bulk of the season. And so I think you'll see more VJ Ashcombe. And I think Paul George will get more involved. Obviously, Maxi's going to do what he do. But, you know, they've been preparing for this. It's unfortunate, though. I feel really bad for Joel. Like you said, you know how much he wants to play. You've seen the emotion coming out at the end of that last series against Boston. But you also had to question and wonder if he'd be healthy enough to make it through these series. You know, the playoffs are far more physical than the regular season, and he's just now getting back into that. So it's unfortunate. I feel bad for him, but I think Philly's equipped to still go out there and possibly win a game.
I mean, for a night, yes. For a series, no. He just affects the game in too many ways. That's how they got out of the first round. He affects the game in 6 different categories. If you're talking about scoring, rebounds, and assists, those are the obvious. But the pace of the game, he affects the double team. You have to double team him now, which is creating a separate offense. You just throw the ball to him, they have to double him, and now there's a new offense. Because he affects the game in so many ways, you can't sustain it over a series against the better teams in the league. But maybe for a night, like you said, Paul George or DJ Edgecombe goes crazy. And then lastly, defensively. So, you know, I think there are too many holes that he plugs for them to be elite, for them to go on and beat the Knicks in this series.
Boy, the Knicks are going to the conference finals.
Yes, they are.
This is, I smell blood in the water. If I'm the Knicks, I'm like, guys, let's get that hammer and nail out in that coffin. We're coming out here tonight because Philly know they can't beat us. We dropped them by 35, 40 with him. Without him, if I'm this is all about the Knicks tonight. I'm like, if I'm a Coach Brown and Jay's like, I mean, man, let's just come out. They know they can't beat us. Let's don't give them any hope, because what can happen, you saw at the games in Boston, if you let this thing come close with Maxey and Edgecombe and Paul George, anything can happen if it's a close game down the stretch. But I ain't letting it be close down the stretch. I'm coming out from 0-0 and put my foot on their neck and get this thing over with quick and painless.
Got to get more than 9 shots out of Tyrese Maxey tonight. I mean, I'm thinking we're getting a heap and helping of Tyrese tonight.
Well, again, with Joel Embiid, and he could, I would say this, he can get 17 points with Joel Embiid, and they could be super impactful. You know, because one, they're going to be easier, and then he's a great one-on-one player who cannot be doubled when Joel Embiid is on the floor. He might get 28 tonight. He played 45 minutes in one game. This will be the hardest 45 minutes for him because double teams are coming and all those things. Now, he is equipped, and he has everything, Draymond, to score the basketball. But he can get an easy 20, an impactful 20, and a hard 30 tonight.
I agree with that to a certain extent. Where I think it changes for Maxey, though, is to your point of the pace, the game slows down with Joel. Maxey want to play fast. And so now I think it makes it tougher on Carl that now you got to try to keep up with Maxey running. You got to try to keep up with VJ Ashcombe running. So I think the Knicks are winning tonight. But Philly's path to winning is they just got to push the ball, and I think ultimately that helps Tyrese Maxey more than it hurts him.
And I agree with that. The only way Philly going to win this game is turn into a track meet. Because if you go back and look at the last game, you talk about Joel defense. They were attacking Joel defensively. Like he can't move anymore. They were killing him on that pick and roll, and Carl was out running up and down the floor. But if Philly's going to win, Max and VJ and Paul George got to go crazy.
And you won't see a 16-3 New York advantage in fast break points like you did in Game 1. Hey, the Knicks. I was in New York last night. Went to a dinner in New York last night.
Congratulations.
Shout out the T. Howard Foundation.
Yeah, congratulations.
No, I'm not asking for that.
No. They just told us you got an award. Congratulations.
It was very nice of them.
That's all right.
But here's the deal. All I heard all night long at the hotel and anywhere else was, hey, Knicks, how far? Hey, man. I said, hey, they're as hot as anybody right now. They are playing great basketball, and it was like that second loss to the Hawks was like a, hey. And now their closest game has been 16. It's impressive what they have done to this point, Dre.
It's very impressive. I think they've started to figure it out, though. Like the more the season has gone on, Karl Towns has moved from the block to the high post. And I think that's changed everything. I think that's allowed Jalen Brunson to get going more at different times. As opposed to him needing to pound the life out the ball, he's getting it off Karl Towns' hands, and he's getting straight into a move. I think that's changed this team a lot. But I'm going to tell you a problem the Knicks are going to have, and Kenny's going to hate this, but they win these games. It's the second round of playoffs, and everybody's running around. They're having parades. They're trapping J.R. Smith outside of Madison Square Garden. Let's not have a parade before you win the thing, Knicks fans. But y'all do the same thing, and then y'all wonder why y'all players quit in the conference finals. They got the parade already.
Hey, listen, I'm Ken NY, but I'm not Ken NY Knicks. I was trying to beat them, too. I was trying to beat them when I was in the league, too. So, but I tell you, the one thing, they are super hot. But the playoffs, you're super hot until you meet the matchup that slows you down. Because when you beat a team in a series, especially 7 games, and you start getting momentum in that series.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the next series is going to happen. So, case in point, we played a series where they would never double pick and rolls. I came off lighting. I was lighting people up. Smithereens, shooting the ball out, shooting it out the socket. The next series, they doubled every possession. Now you make, they're like, where are all these threes that you had? They're doubling every possession. So every possession, every series is different. And so you have to figure out what happens.
Closest game they played in the last 4 was a 16-point win over the Hawks. The other 3 by 29, by 51, and by 39. And tonight they face a Sixer team without Embiid. Draymond replacing Shaq tonight. The technical foul count about to go up at the desk.
Fred Abdon, you always tweet in, brother.
How do you remember? You don't remember.
I remember everything.
No,
He's a ref.
First game in that series, 19 lead changes, 17 ties, a record 12 blocks for Wemby, and the unexpected return of Anthony Edwards, who scored 18 off the bench. Minnesota took the opener by 2, and now we get set for Game 2 in San Antonio. That's where we find George Sodano. George, so I was looking at the injury report, and it looked like on the Minnesota side, Ayo Dosunmu would be available. He's missed the last couple. But Anthony Edwards was still listed as questionable. What's up?
Yeah, we don't know just yet about him, EJ. We're going to talk to Chris Finch here shortly and get the word, and once we get that, we'll pass it along to you. But this is a confident Wolves bunch because Edwards powered through that last game, and he called himself about 75%. But they are getting the reinforcements, as you mentioned, with Dosunmu, and they're not afraid of going in there and attacking Wemby. TJ Shannon said it after the game in the postgame. He's like, look, you can't block them all. And speaking of Wembanyama, he kind of looked back at the game and felt like there were were certain things he could have done differently, certainly. Offensively, specifically, he felt like he wasted a lot of energy, so I would venture to guess he'll be in the paint a little more. He also talked about just the end of the game going in a blip, right? And he played the most minutes he's ever played in a game at nearly 40 minutes, and he played, I want to say, the last 16 minutes or so. He says he wants to be a little more focused and present in those particular moments and that he can help his team. And look, they're up against it in this situation because the stats are not in their favor. A team that loses the first two at home, it's happened 38 times. They've only gone on to win the series 5 times, EJ.
George, thank you very much. We appreciate that. As we look ahead to this game, the Fight for Victory presented by Modelo, here was the fourth quarter for the Timberwolves in Game 1. They scored 35. Edwards had 11 points in the fourth quarter, again coming off the bench in that game. And again, we'll see what his status is tonight for Game 2. Wemby was otherworldly on the defensive end. George alluded to the fact that he said he thought he spent too much energy on defense and on things that really didn't help the team. How did you see his opener?
I thought he was otherworldly in the first half defensively. I thought in the second half he looked tired. You got those guys, they're putting the body on him every play. They're putting the body on him offensively. They're attacking him defensively. And although he got the block shots to the point of Terrence Shannon Jr., they're going to keep going at him. And they got athletic guys with Terrence Shannon, Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, Julius Randle. All those guys are getting downhill at him. So I think it's going to be interesting where they've managed Wemby's minutes all year long. They're not going to be able to do that in the playoffs, and I can see him wearing down like he did in Game 1.
Yeah, 3 guys with double-digit blocks in a playoff game. Akeem and Andrew Bynum, in addition to Victor.
Is that the game he dunked on Shaq?
Victor Wembanyama.
I think that is. I think it is.
Before we hear from you two guys on this, 12 blocks, unless you're talking to Chris Finch.
When we looked at them, at least 4 of them were goaltending, maybe even a 5th. To me, it's a little alarming that none of them were called. So let's just say there were 4. That's 8 points. You know, the value of 8 points in an NBA game is massive.
How many of those do you think were goaltends?
He fouled me. He fouled me on the first one. But I mean, if you look at them, yeah, probably 3 or 4. Yeah. I wish I had that type of. I wish I had that type of treatment too.
On the offensive side, Wemby did not have a big night. He was, 5 for 17? He missed all the threes he took, 0 for 8. In fact, he and De'Aaron Fox both failed to hit a three-pointer.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because to me, well, first of all, women shouldn't be taking 8 threes. That's too many threes for a 7'5" guy. You need to go down in the post where they have to double him and use his height to his advantage. But to me, it's De'Aaron Fox. He's the guy who's got to step up. You go back and look at that Portland series. Who was the guy who played great? We all make a big deal out of Wemby because he played fantastic. We love Castle. But if you actually look at the game, Fox was fantastic in those games, especially the games that Wemby, the one game he didn't play, or 2 games he didn't play basically, or got hurt. But De'Aaron Fox to me is the guy. I thought the Spurs just came out flat. They hadn't played a competitive game in a while. I thought the same thing about Oklahoma City last night. I thought they came out flat, but I think they're going to play better because to me, Minnesota didn't play great, and the Spurs played worse. You know, Anthony admitted, he said, I didn't play that good of a game. So to me, this is when the series, I'm looking forward to watching tonight. But the one thing that bothers me about the Spurs, why didn't they play? Why would you go from playing him X amount of minutes to 40? And because Dre said earlier, there's a lot more mental strain on you in the playoffs. There's a lot more physicality going on. They should have been ramping his minutes up. To go from playing him 30 minutes to 40 minutes, because like I say, let me give Minnesota some credit. If somebody blocked my damn shot 12 times, I'm I'm gonna keep going in there. I give them, Coach Finch. I don't know. I have no idea why he's talking about the goaltending, but give Minnesota. You're right, Ernie. That team is tough. They're confident, but man, they don't care. You're gonna have to keep blocking it, and I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniel says you just got to act like he's not there, and you know, Terrence Shannon says, look, I'm not going to stop going downhill. Well, you know,
if you keep going, he'll get 20 blocks in a game.
He's going to have to.
He could. I mean, it's not that wouldn't be a stretch, honestly, you know, for him because of his size and length. However, you know, the other thing that I felt that the Spurs have a tough time with is matching up with Julius Randle. And he is typically, you know, when he's playing, he plays like a 5. And then when Naz Reid comes into the game and Gobert goes out, he plays like, but now it's like, who guards him? Is it Wemby? Because he's doing things off the dribble. He plays like a point forward, but then at times he's going to shoot the 3. Then at times he's going to drive. So I thought the uncertainty of who was going to guard him, because the one thing about Wemby why he's shooting the 3s is because when you switch on Wemby on most teams, you don't have size switching. Yeah. So with them, they have Naz Reid, they have Gobert, they have Randall, and they have McDaniel.
Those all too little, other than Gobert.
I mean, not all too little, but they're physically gifted enough to guard him. So not disrespectful, if Draymond's not guarding Wembanyama and they switch off and they have one of your guards guarding him, they don't have this girth or the length. Yep, so where they have one or the other that can kind of slow him down and kept them perimeter too much.
He didn't get lobs. You know, he's gotten 10 points a game off lobs. Because they were just able to switch, he wasn't able to roll. He didn't get lobs. And another thing I thought they did, which was incredible, everyone always say space to the 3 to pull Wemby away from the rim. And he doesn't pull away from the rim. They put a guy in the dunker spot every play. And no matter what action was going on around it, they ducked him in. So in the second half, he wasn't able to get those blocks because he was tired, because they was ducking him in, putting the body on him every play.
We've talked about it before. Minnesota, in their 13 appearances in the playoffs, it's either been a first-round knockout or go to the Western Conference Finals. They took a step in that direction again this time, winning the opener in San Antonio.
Exactly. You know, Tim?
I do not remember Tim.
Tim is always, he comes in a lot. I know Tim.
Hey, Rodney Dangerfield.
End of the road for the Warriors this year in the play-in. And you see some of the facts and figures. Second fewest wins, 37 under Steve Kerr from 2014 on, and Draymond Green with a player option.
$27 million. That's a nice option.
Yeah. That ain't half bad, Kenny.
You gonna take that?
I mean, I don't want to leave it.
Excellent answer.
You just thinking about it?
I don't want to leave it. I got a date. The date not here yet to decide.
Hey, so we want to spend a few minutes just talking to you about what's going on in your life and your career, and 14 years in the league, all with the same team. And then I saw at the end of the game you and Steph and Steve in a group hug there. What was that about? And what thoughts were going through your mind as this season ended?
Well, Steve grabbed both of us and he said, I just wanted to take this moment. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if we'll have this moment again. So I just want to take this moment and thank you guys, and it was a special moment. The first thing Travis said when we walked off was like, man, I'm so happy Steve was in the moment. Like, and he didn't miss that moment. But like going down the stretch, you can't help but think like, is this it? Is this the end, right? Like, I have an option, as you see. If they don't want me back, I'm not just gonna take the option. Like, this has always been a partnership, right? You want me, I want you, it works out. And so I do think they want me back, but I'm just saying, with Steve, he's coaching on the last year of a contract. Does he come back? What does that look like? And so it was weird down the stretch because you're kind of feeling this pressure of like, we need to win to kind of stabilize things. But yet you got Jimmy Butler out with a knee injury. You got Moses Moody out with a knee injury. You got Steph Curry out with a knee injury. And we're just free-falling pretty much from All-Star break on.
Could you see yourself in another uniform?
I mean, I don't want to. It's not something I've imagined over the last few years of my career. Early on in your career, you're kind of like, when is this going to come to an end, Mm-hmm. Like, I've been here long enough. You look at the stats, guys don't stay that long. then your mindset kind of shifts. Like, can I make this a forever thing? Can I stretch this the length of my career? When I signed my last deal, that became a realistic possibility. And so for me, no, I don't see myself in another uniform, but I am also understanding of this business and know that it takes them to want me as much as I want them in order for it to continue going.
But the grass ain't always greener. And sometimes it is, but a lot of times it isn't, because especially coming from a championship pedigree. And the worst case scenario for me, after winning 2 championships in Houston, you have a championship thought and a culture. And then you go to teams that are just getting by. Mm-hmm. And you walk in the locker room and you know right away, you're like, this is a joke and this is not it. They're not trying to win. They don't even know how to win. Mm-hmm. They're guessing and throwing darts at the board. And then if you say something, and I know you would, say something, you look like the outsider. Yes. And so I found myself later in my career looking at it, not story career as you have in the many championships, but man, when I left, I was Les Houston. I was like, this is not it, brother. It's not.
And I've heard that from everyone, and I've heard that the entirety of my career, like having veterans like Jermaine O'Neal, like a Jared Jack, like Carl Landry, Richard Jefferson, Sean Livingston. All of those guys, David West, they come in and be like, yo, this ain't the real NBA.
Like, that's the word.
They will come and say that.
And I'll say this, and I'll let you talk, Charles, too, but the one thing that I used to always say is, this is not the real NBA. Mm-hmm. And you know what the first time in my life I felt like I was playing for? A check. Mm-hmm. First time ever.
Well, it's over for the Warriors.
There you go.
I mean, no disrespect.
But disrespect is.
There you go.
No
disrespect. Disrespect.
It ends for every old team. You have your run, you get old, y'all let Clay go. You and Steph on the backside of y'all careers. It just passed you by. Y'all had one of the greatest runs ever. If you think you're not in the playoffs, you're not gonna make. You think you're gonna get healthier for next year? You're just gonna get older. That's no disrespect. You guys had one of the greatest runs of all time. If you want to compete, you're going to have to leave there. If Steph wants to compete, he's going to have to leave there. You're going to have to make that decision.
What if they bring the right pieces in?
They can't bring the right pieces. Why? Because they don't have no cap space.
Okay.
They don't have any cap space.
Do you believe what he's talking over here?
Well, here's what I would say. We had to hug for a reason. Right? Like, we're not.
Because it's over.
We're not oblivious.
Yeah.
So, like, this could be the end.
That's the thing that makes me laugh. It ended for Larry Bird Celtics. It ended for Isaiah Thomas Pistons. It ended for Michael Jordan Bulls, The Last Dance.
Absolutely.
It ended for Tim Duncan and Parker and Ginobili. It always ends. Sports are for young people. You hope to have a great long career, but sports, nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
But you said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
Is ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I saw it. I mean, so, we're always going to try to compete. When you win championships, the goal will always be to try to reach that level. Can we get back to that level? Listen, to your point, Jimmy's going to miss a lot of next year. Moses is going to miss a lot of next year. That's $70 million. $75 million of a $160 million payroll. So it's going to be tough. But make no mistake about it, the goal will always be to compete at a championship standard level. Whether we win a championship or not, I think as you get older, you have to redefine what's success, right? Still the most sellouts in the NBA. Still the most national TV games in the NBA. And you just want to give yourself a chance. Success may not be for us at this point a championship, right? That's the way it goes. And so I think understanding what is success at this point is key for us. Knowing and understanding that, It may not be realistic to win a championship, but can we continue to build to that so that once we leave this organization, it's still in a great space of where they have that pedigree and they can try to build on that
like
when
the
we work
Spurs.
out. Exactly.
Do you have any idea what Steve's going to do?
I think and hope he's coming back. I don't know more than anyone else in the world knows outside of what I do know is that he wants to coach. Mm-hmm. And so if he wants to coach, I think he comes back.
You raised a few eyebrows when you said that you felt like he had hindered your career somewhat. In what way?
Well, I think, number one, people took a 4-minute clip of me saying how great this guy's been to my career, how much he's taught me about winning, where I wouldn't be without him, and all these things. And they took a 4-minute clip and they took 15 seconds of it where I said, I think from an offensive standpoint, he hindered me. I stand by that. That's my truth. But I think every basketball player in the world has some gripe that they wish their coach would have done. I wish my coach would have this. I wish my coach would have done that. I'm not afraid to express my one gripe, but with me expressing my one gripe, make no mistake about it, I also said all of the incredible things, how much of a better man he's made me. I spoke on all of those things, and we take one clip, right? Yeah. So
I agree. I heard the whole clip.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing that you could have been possibly a better offensive player in another system, but I don't think you would have been a better player. I think that the way the Golden State Warriors set you up made you a better overall basketball player. You became a smarter player. You became a point forward. And some of it was Mark Jackson moving to that position as well. And just figuring out where you need the ball, I thought was ingenious, and it made you difficult to guard. So again, your 12 to 15 points on games was super impactful 100%. When that happened. They were super impactful.
By the way, I have zero regrets about my career. That's the beauty of it. I can say what my gripe is, and everything's still great. There's no regrets about it.
We ain't holding you back today, though, Jay. Let's roll, baby.
Great way